What up, folks? AJ, the CEO here, just leaving from my doctor's appointment, but more importantly, we are on project number 3. We're heading back to TCF next week. Originally, we had installed 2 projectors. It didn't fill up the entire screen the way they wanted to. So I just got a call literally yesterday that they went ahead and ordered a digital wall, and they want me to come up there and install it. Now, the good thing about it is we already put the infrastructure for everything in place. So all we're going to do is we already have 2 SDI cables in the ceiling. And they ordered their digital wall from some company out of California. They sent me the list of everything, and it's pretty much the exact same stuff that we've always installed, so nothing new. One thing that they did propose doing that I never even thought about doing is, instead of using 2x4s and 2x6s to mount into the walls, they want to use these steel struts that we put in the ceiling to hold the speakers and their lighting and stuff like that, which I never thought about doing, and that would make it a whole lot easier to not have to worry about stuff getting unaligned and all this other stuff like that. So and the screen they're doing is 11.5 feet wide by 6.5 feet tall. So pretty big. So it's about like 2 of the screens that I've normally done, like put beside each other, or a little bit bigger. So the main thing I'm going to do is, since I'm close to a Lowe's right now, I'm just going to get a small one of these beams. I'm hoping for a complete square beam instead of like a U-beam, because at TCF they also have steel studs. So we need to be able to anchor these things into the steel studs, but then also have enough space to anchor the digital wall panels into these struts. Now, we're definitely going to probably put around like, I got to see how many counts there are in the panels, how many rows it's going to be, but most likely it's going to be a row for the bottom, the top, and then top of every other row. So worst case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 rows. And since I'm getting the struts, I don't have enough space for 10-foot ones. So I'm just gonna get 10 6-foot ones, and then we just got to get ourselves a carbide bit saw or something like that, so that we can saw off any extra that is not needed. But the main thing is, I want to see if we're gonna have to do something, because most of these beams have holes in it that you can slide bolts through. So my intention is to try and get some type of toggle bolt that, a real like lag toggle bolt that I'll have to drill a hole into the stud, put the toggle bolt through, and then winch it down and put like a bolt and a big washer to pull that thing tight against the wall. And then if these LED panels are similar to the ones that I've used before, each corner has a bolt that you can put a plate behind it to hold together. My intention is the center of each one of these, I'll use that to link them together, but the corners, I'll do a reverse. I'll put a bolt and screw it through, and then put a washer and a nut on the other side of this beam to cinch it down together. That is my thoughts on putting this, but this is going to be me just going up here to Lowe's, since it was close to my appointment, and see what we can do to get an eyeball for this, because I'm not going to buy it now. I'll probably buy it going up there next week. Yeah, I got an appointment on Tuesday, so gonna see if we can knock it out Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But kind of like what I mentioned is, we already have 2 SDI cables in the ceiling. We have space in the front for the rack that I put there, so probably gonna put the processing unit for the digital wall in the front. That way we don't have to get up, move chairs out of the way, run new Ethernet cables all the way in the ceiling. All we have to do is run from that front closet to the digital wall, 2 Ethernet cables there for the source, and daisy chain them to each other. They said they already got power there, so I don't have to worry about that. I told them, just like at 31st Street, they just have direct power. They don't have an on and off to that switch, and they were going to go with the breaker. Please stop doing that. Do not turn the breaker off to kill power to that, because you'll blow the breaker sooner or later. The breaker is not meant to be treated like an on and off switch. So they have some Casa plugs left over. We're going to have that linked, and they'll be able to turn on and off the screen, just like I've done at a bunch of places. Good Shepherd, 31st Street, Abundant Life, a bunch of places that are like that, Signs and Wonders. So that'll be fine. And then we extend one of the SDI cables. I might as well extend both of them so we have one as a backup, but we'll extend both of the SDI cables to that closet. So that's another 20 feet, so not a big deal. And then we'll take one of the converters off of the projector. And from the reading, it said that the processor has DVI, HDMI, and SDI connections. So we might not even need to have a converter at all, but we have one available if we need to. So let's get in here to the store. Let's check this out and see what we can do, and see if we can possibly find some bolts or something like that to secure the whole thing. All right, so I don't know how I missed this. I walked past it. We're looking for the metal by the piece row. So these are the things I'm talking about, not these. We're looking for the U-shaped, but this is actually more of what I'm talking about. To see, the idea is you can use one of these holes to put a washer in there and a bolt, put that through the wall, and then cinch it in, and then hopefully the holes will line up and give us enough space for us to put the digital wall panels to that. And it doesn't look like it has the size I need, and I might not even need to go this big. So maybe go with, I was going to say go with something a little bit smaller. But again, there's no point in me buying anything like this, because I'm going to probably buy all this other stuff while I'm up there in Northern Virginia. But this looks about the size of the bolts that are already for the digital wall. So I might go with something like this. So I might buy a piece of this just to get an idea of what we're going to work with. And then we need to find toggle bolts that can actually go through here. So let's go to the anchor aisle. All right, so we're going to need something maybe like this. That way we can really cinch this down against the wall, and probably put some washers on here as well too. So we need to make sure that the hole is big enough that we drill through, and maybe this would actually be better, because the hole that we can drill through, we need to be able to clamp this through here as well. I'm trying to decide which one we'll go with, but maybe something like this, and we'll cinch this down through. And then again, let's see what these are, the weight. I mean, this thing is going to be able to hold 90 pounds just with one bolt. So this is going to be more than enough once we pair all of this stuff up. Need something a lot bigger than that. So this is actually the same one. So let's just go with the bigger one for right now. And then as we're inside the stud, that will hold us in place. That should be more than enough of that. And then we need to find something else on how to secure the bolts for that. But again, if we're able to feed this through, the idea is we put a washer on the other side of this and we run bolts through the digital wall that would get us to this. So normally on the digital wall, I would put a washer on the other side and screw it into a board. But if we're going into this, we're going to do it in reverse. We'll just have the rod go into here and then put the maybe have a bolt that's long enough, maybe 3 inches that will go through, and then we'll have enough clearance of maybe 4 inches, and then we'll put like a tight nut on the other side so we can winch it into that so they're not going to go anywhere. That is going to start making it difficult when we go further in. So we might have to do it in reverse. Maybe somehow put the bolt in this way or something. We got to figure out something, but that's what we got. So let's go ahead and buy that and we'll see what we can do with that. And I need to get some washers for this. Yeah, some washers to put inside of here so that I will fit. Now I gotta think, how in the world am I gonna actually slide that in there? So I'm gonna have to put these in here first, then put the clamp on there, then like lift the whole thing up and put it into the wall. That's gonna be interesting. So I ended up going with the classic toggle bolts that I've used for TVs and stuff like that. I mean, each one of them are rated for 275 pounds. And just trying to get through into the studs, I think, is going to be the more difficult thing to do. And I'm trying to find where I parked. But I think I got that. I got enough to put the beams against the wall, and then we'll approach everything else later. Now, one thing I was thinking about is maybe getting some thin wood and then just putting that inside of the beam and then just screwing into the beam inside of that metal just like I normally would, and that would hold it in place. But we'll see. The main thing is being able to reach in and be able to secure the nut on either side or the washer, whichever one, so that it can be secure and hold it in place. That's going to be the more difficult part. But anyway, let's get home and then we'll head on up and then we'll start to work and see what we can do from there. Hopefully, should be able to do this. Hopefully, in a day, in about 2 days max. Because again, I've ran all the cables, so I don't have to do anything new except for just running 2 Ethernet cables and extending 1 SDI cable. That's the other thing I didn't pick up. Oh well. Well, we'll go from there. All right, folks. So we already talked about all the other stuff that we're doing. It is now Monday. It is 4:30 in the morning. We are loaded up and ready. I don't know if I can get this around my head, but we're loaded up and ready, and we are heading to TCF. I got a bunch of stuff to secure the digital wall to the wall. I have my ladder and everything right now so that we can get inside. So I can bring in everything that I need for that type of work. I'm gonna drop that stuff off at the church, then I'm gonna head back out and pick up the beams. Hopefully I can fit these 4 10-foot beams in the wall. In my car. When I fold everything down. And why is my car tripping? Won't unlock the car. But it all depends. I think these panels are in let me turn this music off. I believe they're not like square panels, but rectangular panels. So it's 2 panels built into one. This is similar to the first digital wall that I set up at Signs and Wonders. So it's going to be a total of 14 panels, 7 across, 2 rows of 7. And since it's 4 of them, it's the equivalent of 2 panels being together, it should go a lot faster. So I just need 4 beams, 2 for the top and bottom of row 1, another one top and bottom for row 2. And since they're these metal struts that we're using, don't have to worry about them kind of like lagging or bending or anything like that, because it's sturdy and they're going to be straight. So that won't be a problem. Never know. I may be able to knock everything out in one day. Not sure. The other thing that we have to do is, and I'm actually rendering out my vlog from Sunday. So I'm going to try and remote in and do that when I get back. What else am I forgetting? I want to make sure I have everything before I leave, because I don't want to forget anything. Grab my crimp tool, because you just never know. I do need to make some Ethernet cables. And those are just the initial ones that have to go from the rack mount to the screens initially. Then after that, everything should be fine. So I'm gonna take y'all along. If I can get all of this knocked out in one day, I'd be very, very happy to do that, and then I don't have to rush back up here multiple days, because I am slated to do this Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But if we get everything straight, we should be able to knock it out in one day. I really hope we can do that. But let's get up to TCF, drop all this stuff off. That's what I meant to do. I need to first unplug the charging cable, and then I also need to measure to see if I can fit everything, because if not, I'm gonna have to, I don't know if the Tesla will let me drive with the with the hatch open in the back, but we'll figure that out. And I'm talking too much. I need to get on the road, and then we'll just talk once we get to the church. Alright, folks, we are here, and I've already brought in everything. And in my rush to try and edit my vlog from yesterday, the batteries that I had charged overnight and my impact drill for me to put this stuff into the wall, I left inside the garage. So we're just gonna have to buy ourselves another impact drill, but I have my ladder set up. Hopefully I can get high enough. I believe they still have the other taller ladder, so I might have to do that. But the main thing is I need to extend the SDI cables that I have for either one of these, the projectors that were originally gonna be done. We're gonna extend those and bring them back over here. And we're gonna have to move a lot of this stuff to get over here. But in this back closet, we have the rack. So we have enough space for it. We're just gonna have to take out one of the placeholders here, either this one or that one, and then we'll slide in the LED processing unit. 2 Ethernet cables are gonna come from that to the digital wall, and then we're gonna extend the SDI cable, and I might as well just do both of them. Extend 2 SDI cables here. We'll run through the panel, get up to the ceiling, and then get it to over there. So that's where the processing unit is going to go. And I need to move that out of the way. That's the first thing we're going to do. Now, we are going, because the pulpit and the stage is not actually perfectly aligned, we're going to go based off of the steps here to center the screen. So about where the guitar is where is going to be the center of the screen, and we have to measure over from there. I did talk to them. The black line from the paint, that is going to be the bottom of where the screen is going to go, and it's 7 feet of white there. So the screen is 6.6, I believe, feet tall. So that's gonna be the bottom, and we're gonna go up from there. And this is gonna be about the center. And I was gonna bring my laser level, but we don't need to do that because we already have this line and we're based on that. We are gonna level it, but I didn't need to bring that out here. And they told me everything is back here. And they didn't tell me that they also got sound absorption stuff. So, oh well, I'm not handling that. So I believe this is the stuff for the digital walls. And wow, why in the world did they put them in like that? But anyway, like I said, these are the panels. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, and that's all of the panels right there. And then what is in here? These are all of the screens in the processing unit. So I normally have mine in flight cases so I can roll them, but we're gonna have to do a whole lot more work to get these in here. So let me try and prop this door open a little bit more. And let me not do that because I still got to go to the store. Now that I got everything out the car, I have space for the beams that we're going to do. And I don't know if the cross is going to be in the way either. Anyway, let's do what we can do. Go up here, extend the cables to here, and we'll start with that. Alrighty, we got our cable pulled, and I think my crimp, I have a crimp, but it's not making it as tight as I normally would. So I need to find that in the car, crimp that down, we'll connect that, make the other connection here. So we already ran our extra cable, and it looks like the outlets that they were talking about are actually up there. More than enough, but I'm also gonna put some CASA plugs up there, but like I said, we got the cable ran right there. We just got to terminate it, put the rack in there. We got it ran, and I shouldn't have closed this up because, like I said, I still got to run 2 Ethernet cables up from there, but not that big of an issue. I need to, like I said, I need to find my crimp. Hopefully I didn't leave that at home too. I'm really feeling I can do this in one day. I don't have any time commitments where I have to get home at a certain time, so we'll go from there. So by where I'm standing, that is the center right there. So I'm gonna level off some stuff, make a couple of lines where I need to go, but this right here is the center, and we're gonna measure off the screen from there and then start marking where the metal studs are that we're gonna anchor into those with self-tapping screws, but inside of the drywall, we're also gonna do toggles. So we're gonna anchor this way more than it needs to be. So I'm just gonna mark the stuff, and then we're gonna go to the store and get our struts. They only have 10 feet, and I mean, I think that's the most I can probably fit in my car anyway. If they had like 5 foot, I would actually do that. And then because it's 11 and some feet, so 10 feet is not going to cover the whole thing. If it was 5 feet, I can put one strut all the way at the end, the other one, and then it'll be enough to anchor and we go up. And again, I'm assuming that the cross is going to come down as well too, but that's what we got. Let me go back to the car, make sure I didn't leave anything in the back. Put those down, move my ladder. Well, I'll wait till I'm done, and then we'll hook these together, turn everything on, put our processor in there, and then go from there. Alrighty, so, so this is the processing unit. This is what's gonna go in the rack. This is a 1U. Even if it was more, we actually got the space. We would just have to move some stuff. I didn't bring my laptop. So I am going to have to come back. All right. Again, nothing different. Now this one actually has SDI in, so I might not need to use a converter, but we'll see. We got that. This is what I'm saying. This is hard because I'm making sure I'm packing my camera equipment, but then I assumed that I had everything, and I normally charge my batteries for my tools and stuff like that before I come. And then it was just, while I'm recording, I'm just trying to record and get in the car and get on the road. And then I'll forget, hey, you left the drill on the floor, you left this here, you got your computer. And again, their computer's here. It's just that I don't have the login. And I'm sure I could just call and I can get it. But I like to actually make sure I have all my stuff to be prepared for, so that I'm not dependent on stuff being here at the client's when I'm doing work. So let's see. So typically in the back, I mean, we can use HDMI or this. Hopefully the SDI will work. But we'll come in here, then we loop out from the DVI into this. Then these are the Ethernet cables that we got to run the daisy chain to the screen. So not a big deal. I'm just trying to think to make sure I don't forget anything before I go. Yeah, I think we're good. Let me get my stud finder and we start marking this thing, and then I should not have to be concerned about anything else because when I'm done, they said they were going to paint. So we should be relatively good to go after that. All right, I cut back over to my phone just because I noticed some other stuff. Man, I forgot a whole bunch of stuff. Also, it looks like either the batteries that I have for my stud finder are dead, or the stud finders are broken. I think it's more because of the batteries, because I had two of them and they still acted the same way. So I need to get some batteries, some 9-volt batteries. Need to get the struts. I don't have, I didn't bring my, well, I can't find my 9/16 wrench head, so I don't have any way to tighten this down against the panel here. And I got washers, but because this is so tight, I don't need washers. So this will go in perfectly fine, but it just gets tight and I just can't finish doing that by hand. So that will go through, that will go to the spring nut that goes inside of the strut that holds it in place. So that's not going to go anywhere, so that'll be fine. So I have one of these extra bolts with me so that I make sure I get the right thing. I also have my socket wrench for the head for that. So we can do that. Need to get another drill. So we're going to be spending a little bit of money today. More than I wanted, but hey, we got it. And then also the fact that the power cables are up in the ceiling. I might not have to run any cables inside the wall. Depending on how tall this is, I may be able to just run the cables alongside with the power cable and maybe have about 2 inches of conduit to hide it if need be, rather than not have to cut holes in drywall. Might not need to do that, but anyway, let's head to the store. All right, so we got ourselves a bunch of supplies, and we got the beams, and they did fit inside the Tesla. We got it marked here. That's the halfway part. This is our line here, the one with the X, that's the center. And what I'm gonna do is I got one of the screens out. I'm gonna lay that down so that I can know the distance that I need to set to offset these so that we stack them. Again, it's gonna be 2 that support we don't need to worry about supporting the middle because the frame will support itself. I'm gonna measure that off, make sure that it lines up. I'm gonna put some of the spring bolts in there to lock it down so that we know that it can fit, measure that distance, and that's where we're going to offset where this goes. And I need to measure this off to see, and let me put you down here for a second so I can have a free hand to actually do this. So what I'm going to do is also measure off here to see how much clearance this is, to see if we can actually put this up and not have to move the cross. So that would be 5 feet. That's 2, that's 3. So that's 5 feet, and then it's 11. So we're just shy. We are going to have to move the cross. So, but I mean, we should be fine from there. So let me start up this other time lapse. I do have another, I did buy some batteries, but then I also bought another one of these just in case this is broke. Need to mark off where the metal studs are, and we have to find what's the middle, and then the toggle bolts I should be able to put in right now because I ended up buying a new drill. The battery is charging right now. So we got some time for that, and just gonna mark that off, and then, make all the measurements of everything that I need. Measure twice for me, measure 4 times, and then drill once. So let's go ahead and set this aside, and then we'll work on getting the measurements, and then we'll go from there. So let's see what we got. I have 4 of these toggle bolts going into the metal studs, but then I also have other ones just going through the extra thick drywall that the contractor told me is strong enough to hold a TV. But again, we have 4 times into actual metal studs, and then we got another 4 directly into drywall. So it should be more than enough to anchor in everything. And we are centered and we are level. So when this goes in, it actually hangs a little bit lower. So that's why I moved it up a bit so that when the screen hangs, it actually is going, the bottom of the screen will actually be about here. So the bolts that I actually got will not work in here. So I need to go back and return the bolts that I actually did get. For some other ones, I need them to be completely threaded instead of the ones like that, and they don't need to be as long. So that's 2 inches. I can get 1.5 inches, and that should be more than enough to go through the screen and engage the spring nut that's going to hold it into the strut. So we are good. And some people are here to paint, so I'm assuming that they're going to be here to do that as well too. I might actually have to come back and bring my saw, because again, this is 10 feet. So that means that part of the screen is actually going to hang over. I'm going to have to, once I put the other beam up there, we're going to actually do that. And I actually got some washers, but the hole is not big enough for the washer. So I need to get some smaller ones so that it can hold that, and then we'll mark that. And maybe I should have brought my laser level. That would have made it easier to mark everywhere where I need to put these. But good thing these are not heavy and they're perfectly straight, so we don't have to worry about that. So let's head right on back to Lowe's, return this, get some other bolts that will work better for the toggle bolts, and then we should be fine. Now, before I do go, I did buy another crimp tool, a Klein one, so I'm gonna cinch these down, then do the other one over there, and then that part is done. So yay. Alrighty folks, so we got two of the beams there. I mean, it looks like it's going to be real tight once we get a little bit higher than that, but we do have them. I'm actually in the metal studs, so it's 3 to 4 metal studs that we're in. So I'm not even going to do the drywall. I got one that was on the drywall on that very end, but I mean, these things are rated for 175 pounds each, and that's in drywall. And if we're in metal, this thing ain't going nowhere. So we got it there. So now what I'm going to do is start from this side and start putting some stuff over. And then I got these anchors, and I assumed all of these were the same size because they were inside the bag. And some of the bags were opened, but I wasn't paying attention. And as you can see, some of these are not the right size. So we're going to have to make yet another trip because as you can see, these are not the 3/8 that we need for the bolts that we have. So another trip to Lowe's, the third one. But like I said, I'm gonna pull out some of the beams. I actually have it measured here on the floor. It's exactly 3 feet between the bottom of the pole and the other one. So that's what we had that measured off. So hopefully we got it right because we're gonna put, I'm not gonna unbolt this one, but we're gonna put another one up there, make sure it fits, and I didn't even have the mic up to my mouth. So we got this at 3 feet apart from the bottom all the way to the top is 3 feet. So that's what we got this measured off. I'm not gonna unbolt this one right now, but I'm just gonna grab a couple other ones, put them on here, and because this is 10 feet, but it's 11 feet wide, we're gonna hang over a little bit. So I want to see, probably put them flush here, and it's gonna hang a little bit over on that end, which I think is gonna be fine, because that's gonna be, the drummer's gonna be blocking that, and it's not really about blocking, it's just about the fact that it's anchored there, so we should be good. So let's go ahead and get 2 of these screens out here, and then we'll see, did we measure out everything perfectly? Because if not, no, we measured it out right. So we just go from there. All right, so I think we got a little bit of an issue. I just finished talking to Sunil. I'm waiting to hear back from Joe. I think either the company they work with sent the wrong thing, or there was a communication issue, because this screen will extend all the way right here, but that's the height of it. So when I showed them that, they're like, I don't think, and they're like, well, what about if we did 3 rows of 4? That would give us that, but then now you have 3 extra panels. I mean, you got 2 extra panels just sitting around not being used, and that's not right. Yeah, so I'm waiting to see what to do. I have to go back to the store and get some more. Well, I was going to get some more of these, but the spring and everything, when I screw this in, it's sliding all over the place. So I'm going to see if I can just get ones that just slide in. That makes it easier, because trying to line these things up while I'm holding this up, and it's just hard to get behind it. So if I get ones that just slide in place, we should be good to go. From there, I'm going to go get that, get me some lunch, then head back. And like I said, this is not going to be a one-day type of thing. Going to try and get everything set up as much as possible. Oh, and the other thing is the power cable is on this side, but all of the outlets are on this side. And the electrician is going to come back to get a switch, but they're going to have to move the plugs. I mean, putting it down here isn't that much of a problem. The cable is black. You're not really going to see it unless you get up on it. But I think the whole goal is to just get it set up so that they can use it, and then go from there. And I need another plug, because this right angle plug is not going to be able to stack on top of that. Anyway, let's see. I think the one thing with this, I wish I was, they had called me in to help them with the phone call with the company when they were ordering the stuff. Because since we've installed it a couple of times, since I've installed these a few times, I know the questions to ask that would help out. So knowing what side the power cable is going to be, what's the dimensions, all this other stuff like that, the placement, that would help this, because I think their whole thought was this would be done and they'll be able to see this by Sunday. But if they sent the wrong thing and this is not the expectation, either I'm going to have to move this whole thing up higher. But I think their mindset was they wanted to get, they thought it was going to fill a lot more space, which is the same thing I thought. I thought it was going to be like this and then just taller, but no. But oh well, let's head to the store and get some lunch. Alrighty, so I am glad I went back and looked over the stuff, because I was stacking these originally this way, but that is not correct. It is actually this way. So, we only got 14 panels, and that's only divisible by 2 evenly, which is going to give you 2 rows of 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it may go, it will go the length, but that doesn't make sense though, because it was 2. They wanted to go with 4 10-foot struts. So, it will possibly will go the entire length of this, but it's not going to be as tall as I think they may be expecting, because that's the whole height of the entire thing. Normally I would do, when I've done this, it's actually been more kind of like a 16 by 8, kind of like a big computer monitor. So if I come back out of here, something's telling me they're going to ask me to move this up when they look at this. So I'm going to hold off a little bit. I still need to go get some more supplies. I'm going to go get some lunch or something. But I really think they might need to look at moving this. This whole thing is probably going to get moved up by about 2 feet, because it will pretty much extend all the way to either side. But again, that still doesn't make sense, because we're almost at 10 feet. So I would have to redo those struts, extend them to either end, and go from there. But let me give them a call. And then I also got to go to Lowe's and get some more stuff from Lowe's, the other bolts. And instead of these spring ones, I'm actually going to see if I can find some sliding ones, because the issue is by the time I start screwing into these, they start twisting and coming unloose. So maybe I'll put the spring ones on the ends and then use other ones. But something is telling me I'm probably going to have to bring this down and start all over. So in other words, we can say goodbye to this being done in a day. Alrighty, folks, didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but as you can see, let me turn you around. With the help of Joseph here, we were able to get, so it is in this way, and it kind of messed me up for a bit, because the way it was packaged when it was shipped, and I'm not talking into the mic, the way it was shipped horizontally. And I think they were saying, after we talked to the vendor, that was just ease of how they shipped it. And it was the question of disassembling it. And so we could put everything straight, but then for the last row, for number 7, we have to actually break apart the panels, and that's how it will work. So it is going to be 2 more rows right above that. So we do have enough that's going to go there. They're locked in place. I'm glad I got those self-tapping screws, because after a while, those bolts kept sliding out of the way. So just screwed right into the strut, and that held it securely. So I don't even think I need to put the other row, because they're all locked in together. I'm going to put that one more strut at the top. So stack another row, lock them in place, put the other row above that, put the strut there, and that's what will be anchored into it. So it'll be 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top that holds it into place. Got to figure out also the other thing compared to the other screens, daisy chaining the power cable. This one is different. you actually have to disassemble and unscrew the connector for the power so that you can flip it. So I was able to disconnect that, and all of them were powered off of the connections there. So my apologies for not time lapsing the other part, because we were just going back and forth, having to get everything and pull them back down, slide them over, and all this other stuff. So right now, I believe it's in a good position. We got 2 more rows to do. I will be back Wednesday, and just based off how it's going, I actually got an image going to it right now. It's not configured. Need the NovaStar app to configure once everything is up. But once we do that, run the cables from the ceiling, drop them down back behind the screen, or possibly punch a hole and run the cables through the wall. They'll hide behind the screen. But actually, no, you can't do that because the screens actually have a back plate, so you can't pass them through. So I am going to have to come right above it or to the side. Most likely it's going to be above, and we can do the same thing with the power. The power cable, and I think, I forgot who told me this, but the outlets are actually above the ceiling. So I believe in code you can't do that. So I already made them aware about that. I believe an electrician is going to be here next week, so they'll fix that. So we'll kind of leave the tile open for right now, so there won't be an issue. Or we'll, have them handle it. But made good progress. I think I pulled something in my back, so I'm just gonna soak in the bathtub once I get home, and then give myself a day of rest, and then we'll be back and be able to knock out everything Wednesday, because we made good progress. Just got to snap all the other screens in, and then we should be good to go. So let me go charge up, get on the road, go back home, go to sleep, and then we'll be back to finish this up on Wednesday.